First of all, for a long time now, we have had what we call a Children's Act, Chapter 59. That act was enacted specifically to domesticate the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the AU Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. Here, the AU Charter, African Charter. This act has been there for about 10 years, more than 10 years. So just recently we've had some amendments to it because there were certain provisions that were not responding to what we really wanted from the beginning. So an amendment has been, we have had an amendment which was just recently passed by Parliament, and we're waiting for the President to assent to this. But the amendment was specifically addressing issues of violence against children, outlawing corporal punishment, both in schools and even in public places, but even in your own homes, because we have discovered that corporal punishment is maiming quite a number of our children, even by their parents and within their own homes. We also streamlined issues related to adoption and legal guardianship. Our children have been taken away for inter-country adoption following a procedure that we thought was not proper. And within the amendment, we have established a procedure that we think that will reduce on the number of adoptions that are done, not rightly, without following ethics. And we hope that when the President assents to this bill, we'll be able to implement this bill before the end of this year. We'll be able to commence the bill before the end of this year. But there are also other things that we've done. We have, Cabinet has just passed a policy on integrated early childhood development. We believe that we need to put special attention on our children, especially those from conception to the age 8. Specifically because this is the time our children's brains develop. And once a brain has developed below the age of 7, once it has developed, it will be very difficult to change the status of this child afterwards because the brain stops growing at around the age of 5. It has made all the connections it needs in life. So whatever happens to these children in life before that time, if it disturbs the connections of the brain and the growth of the brain, then it will affect the future activities that is going to participate in, and the capacities that he should have to be able to participate in the development of this country. So this is why we brought out this policy. We also have a policy. We have had a policy on orphans and other vulnerable children for more than 10 years now. We are actually reviewing it this year. And this time we are not looking at it as an orphans and other vulnerable children policy. We are actually consolidating it into a children's policy. And with it will come up the action plan. And then we integrate all the other policies that we've had on children to be able to have a comprehensive policy on children so that stakeholders can be able to follow it. The aim is to make sure that we have more investment in children, in protecting them from any violations of their rights. And we believe that if we continue like this, then we'll be able to fulfill our dream in Vision 2040, which wants this country to be in the middle-age income. And you cannot have that when the children, they have not been given, the personnel that are going to run that country have not been given a strong beginning. I believe government believes in children because when it comes to investment for children, you look at things like education and you see the amount of money that is being put in this sector. When you look at primary health care, then you see the amount of money that is put in this sector. Then it means that it is a priority. People, we think about it seriously. The only problem is that we have so many needs for children that the resources probably are not enough. We still want more. But we have also said that amongst children we have different sections. We have health we have education, but we also have child protection. And the area of child protection, we still feel that it needs some more investment, some more attention from government, especially resources from Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. Specifically because child protection affects the software of the human resource that we are going to have to be able to develop this country. You can spend a lot of money on health and spend a lot of money on education and so many other things for these children, but as long as you've not protected them from violence, from any form of abuse, that money is going to be wasted because you still lose the effect. Because all these rights must be given, they must support one another in developing an individual. You leave one, then you have not helped this individual. In fact, you are losing the investment you are putting somewhere else and leave it rather than putting it here. So we need some balancing in the resourcing. First of all, I need to say, according to the Children Act Chapter 59, it is against the law to print any picture of a child in any media. It's not allowed. You can either use a pseudonym, even using the names, even of the parents, so that will lead to its identification. You can either use pseudonyms, but you can also cover the pictures so that they are not seen. We do this specifically because we want to protect the children. And one of the things we are looking out for, actually even in the amendments, if this happened, because in the amendment we made sure that every right of the child is included in the law. And one of these is the privacy of this child and the confidentiality, all these things. So if any person printed that, we can actually prosecute that. And if that bill came to, if the president accepted that bill, it would have added to the protection of the children in this way. But actually journalists should also know that this is in the interest, the best interest of the children. You want to give a story, but you should always think about protecting the rights of this child, especially when it grows up in life. These pictures may be used by other unscrupulous people for some of their gains, who may be in political competition and all these other things. But in some ways they are also used by internet abusers for other people to use them on different things. So we want to avoid this. We've just done, and about 2 years ago we did a study. We mapped our child protection system. And when we mapped them, we really identified some big factors. First of all, we realized that we have a strong legal framework to protect our children. We also have a foreign policy framework. The problem is actually in implementation. And some of the issues that prevent us to implement them, first of all, they include the coordination, different parties working together, because child protection involves different parties. It has internal affairs, it has justice, it has gender, labor and social development, finance, health, agriculture. All these ministries have got a part to play, and we need to bring them together. And then the other issue is actually resourcing. It's a child protection interventions are not well resourced, both in government, but also the fraternities, the development partners are not concentrating on resourcing child protection. They are not prioritizing it as an element that can induce development. So we are right now, we have developed a child protection strategy, which is aimed at strengthening this child protection system. And we have also included it in the social protection policy. And we believe that if we follow it up and we increase, we will enhance the capacity of the different stakeholders to be able to protect our children, and we will have more gains in future. I think the issues of Nodding syndrome are issues that should be addressed to the Ministry of Health. Well, they really have answers to this. But in my own opinion, like I've always told other journalists and other people, that it is very important for them to get this information and channel it through their district officials. You have district health inspectors, they call them district health heads. but also the chief administrative officers. And this information is rallied through the responsible directorates and commissioners. I think they'll be able to address those questions. Personally, I cannot give you an answer for that. But I also feel for these children, and I still think we need more action in terms of rehabilitation, not only treatment, but also in terms of rehabilitation, but also care, because for a long time they are going to be like that. They need some kind of support, not in disease. But we also have a strong nutrition program that is going on all over the country to address some of the issues. I'll talk to my colleague and see what they have done so far about that. But I know they participated in addressing the issues of nodding disease, looking at community development and also nutrition as an element. The principle that governs this is the best interest of the child. So if you are printing that picture and it is being done in the best interest of that child, then probably you might have an argument. But in most cases you'll find that the pictures are not in the best interest of the child. You want to tell your story. You want to tell people a story that will be attractive to them. But you don't look at this child, the rights of this child hereafter, and how people are going to use that story for perfecting. This is what we are protecting. It is against the law. We don't allow it. Even I think red paper has been attacked several times, and I think I've started seeing them covering pictures of children in that area. That does not mean that the materials that you put out there will not affect our children. And I think collectively, both even you journalists, we should try as much as possible and advocate against whatever they are showing our children.